Alright ladies and gentlemen, it is your boy Ryan Thomas with Fail Tech, and today I'm going to be talking about owning a Samsung Galaxy Nexus in 2016. So first I'm going to run through the specs, then I'm going to give you a physical tour of the device, and then finally I'm going to give my verdict and my opinions. The display on this Nexus is a 4.65 inch 720p Super AMOLED display. Super AMOLED tends to show really deep blacks, but also has a little green tinge to it, and we found this in this device. But Super AMOLED is actually a really great format because it actually reduces battery life by not showing black pixels. The back camera is a 5 megapixel shooter capable of 1080p 30 fps, and the front shooter is a 1.3 megapixel camera capable of 720p 30 fps. These cameras will do fine for taking photos. I haven't got any sample photos just because with the installation of Lollipop on this system, the camera app actually broke, so I can't actually use the camera. When I was on stock software, the camera was working fine, and it actually produced better images than my Nexus 4, which actually has better specs for the camera. This system has 1GB of RAM and 16GB of onboard storage. Now in a previous video, or several previous videos, I thought you could actually expand this with the SD, but you cannot. So you're actually stuck with 16 gigs, and 16 gigs is the only one that Samsung offered at the time. For the battery, this is a 1750 mAh, which is nothing. It's actually lower than my iPhone 6 when I had it. But the big thing about this is it is removable, and you can get maybe larger ones, but you can definitely get spare ones to take about with you. Also, the battery life is actually very good because I would last 3 or 4 days with it, and if I'm using it heavily, I could get 1 or 2 days out of it easily. This phone also has a 1.2 GHz dual core processor that, accompanied with 1GB of RAM, is enough for most tasks, but sometimes it will crash and sometimes you just don't have enough power to run multiple applications at once. A physical tour of the device. On the front, we've got that 4.65 inch 720p Super AMOLED display, obviously multi-touch, and it is capacitive as most phones are nowadays. There's also an LED light on the bottom and a speaker grille on the top. The LED light is actually very important. I love the LED light. On the left, we've got a volume rocker and nothing else. On the right, we've got a power button and contacts for what seems like a dock. On the bottom, we've got micro USB and a 3.5mm headphone jack. Again, prefer those on the top, but most people prefer those on the bottom. And on the top, we've actually got nothing. On the back, we've got this kind of weird texture to it, and it's really cool. It's just a bit plasticky, and that kind of represents the entire phone. Very plasticky. But on the back, it's got this texture which seems like it's meant to be more grippy, but it actually doesn't make it any more grippy than if it was just flat. And that's it with the build quality of this phone. It is very plasticky. You've only got the glass on the front, and it is curved, which is pretty cool. So it's one of the first phones to actually have a curved display, which is now kind of a gimmick and everyone wants to do it. The back, there's kind of this bit at the bottom, it's almost like a forehead, but on the bottom it sticks out on the back of the phone, which is a bit weird, but you'll probably get used to it quite quickly. Now this phone does have a removable battery, but it also uses the old style of SIM, so no micro SIM or nano SIM here. I'm using Android 5.1.1 Lollipop, and this does work to some degree, obviously, with the developers and everyone. Shout out to this guy right here for posting a comment on one of my other videos about this. The developer scene is actually quite big and it's still blooming, so you can still run Marshmallow maybe on some of these devices. I'm running Marshmallow on my Nexus 4 and I shouldn't be able to do that, but at the same time we're actually running Lollipop on this device, and I'm kind of happy about that. This phone also costs £75 to £85 used on eBay, which is pretty good price, and I would recommend this over something like an iPhone 4 or iPhone 4S, which goes for a similar, maybe a little bit less in price. Overall, would I recommend this device though? In other videos I said I would over other devices, but considering the amount of crashes that you do get, I would recommend going to the Nexus 4. Even the Nexus 4 does have crashes, so really I would just recommend going up to your £120, £130 mark and going with something like the G3 or the 1M8. I would recommend the G3 over the 1M8 though. But in terms of would I recommend this phone, I would not, I'm sorry. I would recommend it if you really wanted this phone, then you could go for it. But it's kind of a love it or hate it thing, and at the moment I don't really like it at all. Now I just want to say thank you for all the support we've got on most of these videos. Sorry about the amount of jump cuts I've had to do in this video. I'm not feeling all up to it at this point, as you can probably tell in my voice and the way I just keep looking around and feeling really awkward. And I've had to like stop and sneeze and cough, and it's just really annoying. So again, sorry about that, but hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Like I said, you've showed loads of support on our videos recently, and we really cannot thank you enough for that. So let's see what we can do in 2016. Thanks for watching guys, this has been your boy Ryan Thomas with Fail Tech, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.